So we have a national debt in this country of $17 trillion, over $17 trillion. And when we see that in newspapers, we hear people mention it on the news, it's kind of hard to fathom just how big that actually is. What does that actually mean? And quite truthfully, it's so astronomically large that you should not be able to comprehend how large that is. But I saw an illustration that was presented to me. I'm going to present that illustration to you, and I think you're going to get a really good idea of what that means. So here we are in Notepad on my computer, and I'm just going to put on the screen 1, 000, 000. That that is $1 million. And by any stretch of the imagination, $1 million should radically alter most people's lives. I mean, with $1 million, if I gave you $1 million, you could spend $350,000 on a really nice house, paid for in cash, never owing anything on it ever again. You could spend an additional $25,000 a piece on a car for you and your spouse. Okay, pretty nice car for $25,000. Each one of you get one, paid for in full, never to owe anything to anybody ever again. And then you could put $600,000 in the bank, earning 4% interest, or the equivalent of $24,000 a year in interest. That is not by itself a lot of money, but added on top of whatever that your family brings in, to your home each and every year, if you were to add on another $24,000 on top of that, that would radically alter your life. So by any stretch of the imagination, $1 million is a lot of money. It would change everybody's life that is listening to this video. Well, there's $1 million. So I'm just hit, Control A, select it, Control C to copy it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what $1 trillion of that looks like. So that's a million. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's $10 million. Control A, Control C to copy it. That's 10 million. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 million. That block right there represents $100 million. Hit the enter key a couple of times. I'm going to go back, copy it. That's 100 million, right? 200 million, 300 million, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $1 billion. I'm going to hit Control A to highlight it all, Control C to copy it. We're at $1 billion, right? Just 1 billion. Control V, that's 2 billion. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $10 billion. Control A, copy it. Control V, which is going to paste it. That's 10 billion, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 billion. Control A, copy it. We're going to paste it. That's 100 billion, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $1 trillion. Control A, copy. 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, 4 trillion, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, $17 trillion I just filled up on this notepad. Now let's just give the old mouse wheel a scroll, shall we? We'll just begin to scroll up. And if you look all the way to the bottom right, and I'm scrolling this mouse wheel as hard as I can, that wheel cannot turn any faster. Look, that little scroll bar on the right-hand side is just not moving. That is a scroll bar. I'm going to reach over there and I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to slide it up. See, that's a scroll bar. But it's so much money. That's every one of those blocks, $100 million. I'm scrolling that wheel as hard as I can. And it's just not doing anything. It's not making hardly any movement at all. Oh my God, that is a lot of money. Let's give away some of this money because I have just so much I want to give it away. Let's say I have 100 friends and I want to radically alter their lives. I'm going to give each one of them $1 million so they can do what we talked about. Buy that $350,000 house, buy a couple of $25,000 cars, and put $24,000 in interest into their pockets every single year on top of what they're already bringing into their home. So I'm just going to take this block right here, and I'm just going to, boom, delete it. Gone. It doesn't exist anymore. $100 million it just gave away. Let's give the mouse wheel a scroll. No, not seeing any movement on the scroll bar over there on the right-hand side. It's still hanging tight. Okay, so let's say instead of going to Congress and taking that appropriations bill that's going to fund our military, and instead of writing that pork barrel project on top of that to put $400 million back to your state. That's what your senators do. They do stuff like this all the time, every single one of them. Remember, this is not a donkey thing. It's not an elephant thing. It's a spending thing. It's a bad habit thing. So your senator goes to Congress and says, hey, we want to build a beltway around our city, and it's going to cost us $400 million, and we'd like to write an appropriations bill attachment onto the funding of our military because everybody's going to pass that one, right? Well, they pass that bill, and then your senator brings back $400 million to pay for that little special project, okay? Well, let's say your senator didn't go do that. He wasn't evil like that. Instead, he came to you and said, look, you got all that extra cash. Can you give us $400 million to build that project? You say, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Let's see, 400 million, that's 300 million. Let me scroll down a bit more. That's 400. You know what, Senator? I want it to be a really nice road, so we're going to give you an extra $100 million on top of it. So that's $500 billion or $500 million. So I'm just going to, it's highlighted, boom, gone. Doesn't exist anymore. I just gave away $500 million. Plus, I gave away $100 million to all my friends. So let's give the mouse wheel a scroll, shall we? Scrolling. Nope. It's still hanging out over there. Does this give you an idea of just how huge $17 trillion is? Remember, this is not a donkey thing. This is not an elephant thing. This is just something that needs to be fixed. And there's only one way to fix it, ladies and gentlemen. Only one way. Don't spend more money than you take in revenue. Each year, every day, today, as you watch this video, in tax revenue, our country is going to generate about $29 billion. But that's not enough. It's not enough to meet our needs. We're living so far outside of our needs that we're going to turn around and write treasury bills, basically IOUs, to other countries of $100 billion on top of what we brought in. That's right. Every single day that you take in oxygen, your country is spending $100 billion more than they're taking in. There's only one way to fix it. Don't spend more money than you're taking in. That's the only way.